Welcome to Equestrian Fitness for the Long Ride with the Sweaty Equestrian. I'm personal trainer and endurance rider Tamara Baysinger, and I'm here to help you ride stronger in a day and longer in your life. Hey rider, welcome back to the podcast. Today I want to talk about how to get back into your rider fitness routine after taking a break. Because let's face it, breaks happen to everyone. It can be for unexpected reasons like an injury or a family crisis, or more often because of planned events that simply disrupt our routine. So today we're going to cover why it is so hard to get back to your fitness program, what happens to our bodies when we take a break, how we can set ourselves up for a successful return to our fitness routine. And then I also want to give you the good news about maintaining and regaining fitness despite the inevitable disruptions that are just part of life. Some of the most common causes I see of breaks in a fitness routine are the transitions. You finished a fitness program maybe, and you feel like you deserve a break, and you only intend it to be maybe a week or so, but it drags out. Or maybe it's a different kind of disruption that you didn't exactly plan. It's a project at work. It's a veterinary emergency. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something negative, right? It could be a family vacation, a visit over a holiday weekend. And really, equestrian events are one of the most common habit breakers that I see among our Sweaty Equestrian members because we're all horsewomen, right? We go to show weekends, we go to local play days, we go to endurance rides, and these things take planning. They take emotional energy. There's lots of preparation that goes into them before, and then there's all sorts of cleanup after. And while you're doing all that, you get behind on everything else in life, right? The fridge is empty, the work project got put off, whatever it is. And on top of that, you're tired. Maybe you're sore. And so you do end up taking that break from your fitness routine. And the problem is that a few days turns into a week, and that turns into 2 weeks. And pretty soon you're looking at yourself and saying, how have I not worked out for a month? So let's talk about what happens in the body when that happens. I think we all know that, sadly, humans do not retain fitness as well as our horses do. Bummer, but true. Our muscular strength from resistance training will begin to decline at about week 3 of a break. So over the first couple weeks, week 1 or 2, you will probably notice a visible difference in your muscle tone, like how your muscle looks. But that is mostly the loss of water and glycogen in the muscles. But you hit that 3-week mark, and now we're talking about a decline in actual muscle tissue and strength. So what about cardio? Subtle changes occur as quickly as 3 to 4 days. But don't panic about that. You're not going to get a really noticeable decline for 1 or 2 weeks. Or maybe do panic about that because that's pretty fast, right? So we start to lose our cardiovascular fitness in 1 or 2 weeks, and we lose muscle mass and strength in 3 weeks. And of course, it's only downhill from there. So this can sound discouraging, right? But you can do one of 2 things with that information. You can either give up or you can turn it around. And I know which one I am going to choose. So let's talk strategies. First of all, back up, big picture. Remember your why. Remember to connect the activity, the workouts, the fitness-related activities to the outcomes that you want, especially over time. It's really frequent to come up inside the membership how the choices that we are making now determine our ability to keep riding and caring for our horses into older age. And maybe that's your goal. Maybe it's not. I suspect it probably is because you're listening to this podcast. But whatever it is individually for you in maybe the shorter term, the medium term, and especially the long term, take a second if you've been on a break and you know you need to turn it around to think about why you need to turn it around. Why does this actually matter to me? And now let's talk about what you could do before a break. Because a lot of these breaks are planned, right? We know it's going to happen and we can go into it with a plan to reintegrate into our fitness routine so that we don't have that slide into the 1 week, 2 weeks, a month. First of all, say I'm an endurance rider, so I go to endurance rides, and when that happens, I know that I will have anywhere from 3 days to a week. If it's a really big ride like Teva's, it may be more than a week where I don't do any actual workouts. But when I go into that, I know that I'm going to have a break, and I try to have a plan for exactly how I'm going to get back into my routine. I know when I'm going to do it, and I know what I'm going to do. Now, here is the key. It has to be a realistic plan, not just an aspirational one. If I say that I'm going to get back in my routine the day I'm back at home, it ain't going to happen, right? Because I have to be realistic. I know that I am going to need to allow a day to unpack and get things cleaned up. I'm going to need another day to catch up on all the other things that fell behind while I was at the ride, and probably rest my body as well because I'm probably sore and tired. But then I'm going to restart on the third day. So I know my specific day and I've made it realistic instead of aspirational. And that goes for the type of workout as well. I'm going to ease back in. My goal is not to punish myself or make up lost time. I'm simply going to reestablish my habit and routine. And even if it's just something gentle, like going for a very light run or doing some yoga, that can be really helpful for the soreness. If I'm starting back to strength training or running, I'm going to go at about 60% of my usual intensity, the intensity that I was working out at prior to that break. Now, that's going to vary depending on the length of the break. I might start at an even lower, less than 60% of prior intensity if my break was several weeks long. Or if it was only a few days long, I might just do one sort of little bit easier workout, maybe 80% of prior intensity, and then just get back into things as normal. So it depends, but as a rule of thumb, you could shoot for about 60% of prior intensity, and that not only will make it easier for your body to come back into it without getting sore and tired and fatigued and not wanting to do it, it's also easier on your brain because we're reducing friction, right? We're making it a more attractive proposition to come back if we know it's not going to be a big beat down. Speaking of reducing friction, there are more things that you can do to make returning to the gym more attractive after whatever this break has been. And one of those is really simple. It's just set your favorite stuff out ahead of time. Say you work out in the morning. Have your favorite workout clothes, the ones that are cute and comfy. Have those handy. Have a little tasty breakfast ready. Or if you work out in the afternoon, same thing. Have that gym bag packed with your favorite stuff. Have a good snack in there ahead of time so you can just grab that and go. And you don't really have that excuse of, geez, I got to find all my stuff and pull it together and I am hungry and I don't have anything to eat, blah, blah, blah. No. Reduce the friction. Set your favorite stuff out ahead of time. Another thing you can do is make your return to the gym or the workout environment, whether that's at home or whatever, make it more attractive. One thing I really like to do is put my coffee in an insulated cup and take that with me down to my home gym. Because then I can sip on my coffee in between sets of lifting, and it's kind of luxurious. It's almost like a little treat. And it makes it just somehow so much easier mentally and more enjoyable. Related to that, you can use the 10-minute rule, which is where you tell yourself, okay, I really don't want to do this. I don't feel like it, but I know I need to. And so I'm just going to start. I'm just going to start into a gentle warm up or a walk or whatever. And I'm just going to do it for 10 minutes. And if I still want to quit after 10 minutes, then I can. But you know how this works, right? Almost all the time. After that 10 minutes, you'll be into it mentally and you'll be fine and you'll continue and you'll finish the workout, and that will get you back on the wagon. And it'll perpetuate the cycle where you're going again. Another thing you can do is publicly commit. You can do this if you are planning ahead, like before a break, you say, I'm going to restart on day 3 or 4, whatever it is. You can publicly commit to that ahead of time. Or if you have been on a break for a little while and you're like, okay, I really got to get back into it, you can publicly commit to saying, I am starting my fitness routine again, and I am starting it this afternoon, or I'm starting it tomorrow. And when I say publicly, I mean announce it out loud, either in writing. You can do this on social media. You can say it to your friends. If you're a Sweaty Equestrian member, post it in the TSE members crew area, which is our private Facebook group, and share what you are committing to. There is something about putting it out there into the world in writing or verbally or both that will make you so much more motivated to follow through because you said you were going to do it. Now you got to do it. Also, as you shift from a break, especially a long one, back into your workout habit, swim in the sea of who you want to be. Swim in the sea of who you want to be. That's just a little rhyme that I use to remind myself to read and follow and listen to the kind of influence that keeps me focused on my rider fitness priority. If it's been a little while, I'm not really feeling it, but I know I need to do it, maybe I'll pick up a favorite book that was really helpful about rider fitness. I'll listen to my favorite podcasts. I will read the newsletters. You know, the Sweaty Equestrian newsletter that hopefully you're signed up for and you haven't maybe read them in a couple of weeks? Go read those because it'll get your brain just thinking in that groove again. Follow the social media that encourages you to do what you want to do. Swim in the sea of who you want to be. So I promised we would wrap up today with the good news about maintaining or regaining fitness when breaks happen. But first, I want to remind you that my Leaner, Stronger Rider program is on sale for only about another week when this episode comes out. Leaner, Stronger Rider is my 12-week guided program that teaches you step by step how to trade body fat for lean, strong muscle. It is not a rapid weight loss program because, you know, if you've tried those, you already know that they don't work, at least not for very long. Leaner, Stronger Rider is a program that takes longer, but it actually works to change your body composition for the rest of your life. So through the end of April, because it's a new program launch, you can get $70 off lifetime access. So you buy it once and you use it for that initial step-by-step 12 weeks, and then you get to keep the whole program. All the educational content, it's got a bunch of like private podcasts and videos. So all the educational content, which is huge, plus the nutrition resources, the examples, and all the workouts. And these are complete follow-along videos for both strength and cardio. Everything. You get lifetime access, and it's $70 off through the end of April 2026. You can find that at thesweatyequestrian.com/leaner, as in Leaner, Stronger Rider, and I'll put the link in the show notes. Anyway, okay, so let's talk about the good news. During long and unavoidable breaks, you can slow the rate of loss with minimal workouts. You can really preserve almost all of your gains. You can kind of press the hold button by doing just one full body strength workout and one cardio interval workout per week. That's going to take you a total of about an hour a week if you do it right, and it will preserve things much longer. Also, you can help preserve muscle specifically with a high protein diet. And if you take 5 grams of creatine a day, and ideally also take essential amino acids, I like the leucine enhanced ones by Kion, Kion. I have no affiliation with them. I just really like that product. So eat high protein, take 5 grams of creatine a day, and ideally a dose of essential amino acids as well. That is going to help you preserve your muscle, even if you're not able, for whatever reason, to work out as much for a while. And do those minimal workouts if you can. One full body strength workout, one cardio interval workout, total of about an hour a week. That is going to extend dramatically the amount of time that you can be off your regular full rider fitness program without losing nearly as much ground. Also, muscle memory is a very real thing. So even when you do lose muscle tissue, you retain the neurological changes that substantially contribute to your strength. So because of that, if you have a break and you lose muscle and you lose strength, those things, your muscle and strength, will come back much faster when you resume your workouts than the original build took. It'll come back a lot faster. This effect is even more pronounced the longer that you have consistently worked out. The longer your consistent workout history, the more muscle maturity you have. That's basically the concept that long-time consistent training makes you better able to maintain with less effort and regain more quickly and easily. So breaks happen, okay? But if you have been in a slump, I want you to let go of the guilt, recognize that it happens to everyone. Just pick a day and get started. It doesn't have to be Monday, by the way. A lot of people think they have to wait until next Monday, but today is better than Monday. I actually went through this myself really recently. I mentioned on the last episode that I have been in this running phase of training and I haven't been strength training as much as I ordinarily would. And I miss my muscle. I'm getting itchy to resume strength training. And not too long after recording that episode, I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to wait until after I have run the race to Roby Creek, which I will have done the Saturday before this episode comes out. So I haven't run it yet while I'm recording this, but I will run it before this episode comes out. But you know what? I was like, I'm not waiting. I am starting to strength train again right now. And I started on a Friday of all things because I wanted it that much. I'm starting now. Now I'm starting carefully because I don't want to have fatigued muscles going into this half marathon, but that doesn't mean I couldn't do anything, right? This is consistent with what I've been saying throughout this episode. We're going to ease in with workouts that feel good. And we're not trying to punish ourselves with too much soreness or an unrealistic level of commitment. You know, when you're coming back after a break, maybe don't go crazy. Don't commit to 5 or 6 or 7 days a week. Say, I'm going to start with 2 days a week or 3 days a week. Ease in with workouts that feel good and are actually manageable. And remember to reduce friction by setting out your gear ahead of time, telling yourself that all you need to do is get started with that 10-minute rule. Make it a pleasant experience with your favorite clothes, a nice environment, a tasty, healthy snack, or bring your coffee or some tea with you. Also, commit in public. Surround yourself with other fitness-focused riders who are going to keep you on track. And finally, remember your ultimate goal and know that it just takes one step today in order to achieve it, because you can ride stronger in a day and longer in your life. Want to get more sweaty? Subscribe to my newsletter at thesweatyequestrian.com/newsletter. And remember, you have what it takes to be a full athletic partner for your horse. Saddle up strong.